Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Capital A Trading and welcome to my latest Forex Weekly. So for those who don't know, it's that video where I go through the charts, try to pick out the best investment opportunities and then bring them to you and show you how I'm going to tackle them. So if that sounds good, if you trade, if you take investments, hit that subscribe button in the bottom right corner. Stay up to date with the channel. There's a lot of exciting content coming from now until the end of the year. I just want to say a quick shout out to my sponsors, the Absolutely Magazine. Thank you for everything. It means a lot. With that being said, guys, check out the website, been recently launched, and if you want to learn more about trading, if you want to check out my mentorship program, you can find out more details on there. That's www.capitalatrading.co.uk. Now with that being said, let's check out the fundamentals. There's a lot of news this week that may impact the charts.
Want to check out them fundamentals, keep an eye on the news, see what may impact your charts for the week. Now, as you're about to realize, it's very important to do that with what you're about to see. So Monday, really nothing to really report about. Tuesday, again, nothing really to report about. I'll be watching the Australian dollar to see if that has any impact, but again, nothing much. So this is where it kicks off now. On Wednesday, we're going to have the yen's interest rate decision. So I'll be looking to see some strength with the Japanese yen. That's at 4 a.m. So again, it'll be looking around, monitoring the London Open, seeing what we can see with the yen on that morning. The next up on that day, towards the evening, will be the US dollar's interest rate decision. I'm just going to be looking to see some strength there. So again, that'll be just towards the New York close on that day, Wednesday night. Thursday morning now, and again, we're just looking for the next interest rate decision, and there's going to be another one for the Swiss franc, again, just after the London Open at 8:30. And then, of course, even more importantly, the pound is going to have their interest rate decision at midday. And of course, that's an hour before the New York Open. So we'll be looking to correlate a few things, see how we can catch a few trades. So again, it's going to be very important to keep an eye on them pairs that I'm about to mention. That's the pound, the yen, the Swiss franc, and the last but not least was the Australian dollar. So again, just be aware of these options, be aware of what could happen in the charts. And we'll have a look now and see what we can see. First up, as usual, I'm going to go through gold. Now, again, there's another trade here that I've mentioned recently from that area around the 1820 mark. It's been a good push to the downside. It's now looking like it's coming towards where I mentioned that it will be targeted. So around 1720, around the 1700 mark. So there is still a bit more space to come down. So this is what I'm expecting to see this week. If I just come down to a 2 hour, again, still can't see much. Come to the 1 hour, and I've got this lonesome blue candle here just before the New York session. So what I want to see this week is just price pull back towards that and see how it's going to react. I am expecting it to come again a little bit higher. There may be an option of it a little bit higher between the 1800. So I'm just kind of keeping an open mind, keep an eye on the 1780. If not, it's going to be the 1800. I believe there's going to be another sell from this area. It may be even pushing lower towards that 1700 mark. So keep an eye on that one. That's going to be gold USD. Next up, the dirty US 30. Again, another trade that was mentioned about 2 weeks ago now. And now you're starting to see the target reached, new low breached, profit made. So again, just showing another trade, very successful if you have the patience to wait. Now, regarding what's happening, we are in a very strong bearish environment. I do believe it's got a lot more room to come down. In fact, I believe it's heading towards the 3400 mark. So what I kind of just want to see is just this kind of like what I call stepping down the stairs, staying intact. I'm looking to just see price pull back up towards the 34,800, 34,900, maybe even 35, and then continue to make them lows. Maybe again, and that's what we're kind of looking to see this week. So just keep an eye on that. Expect that structure to stay intact and try and ride on the, get on the bus is what I would call it. So that's the US 30. Again, next up, the UK 100, another trade that was called around 2 weeks ago. There's a video on this one. It's the area around that 7,200 mark. Price has dropped down and now eventually gone and hit its target again. It took around 2 weeks to get there. So again, just stressing the importance of the patience. Now, two things I want to mention here. I want to kind of keep an open mind. I want to say that this has been a key buying area before. I actually mentioned this buy from this level. That took off. We're now back at the level. So it's going to be just interesting to see what happens here. I'm going to be watching that early on in the week to see if there's a potential buy push from here. What I would then look out for if I come down to a 2 hour time frame is I just want to watch this here, this candle that was left on Friday just before the New York session. It looks familiar to me. It looks like a piece of price action that I'm used to seeing. So again, I believe we could get price just pull towards this level, start to show signs of struggling, hopefully by Monday, Tuesday, just struggling in this area, and then maybe another push to the downside. So that's what I'm expecting on the UK 100. Keep an eye on that one. Next up is Bitcoin. Again, I just wanted to mention that sell that was recently called had a nice push to the downside. It's kind of like fighting its way back up. So what I want to keep an eye out for, if I just step down onto the 2-hour time frame again, we've got another lonesome blue candle. It seems to be sitting right on the 51,000 mark. So it tells me that that price, that number could be manipulated. There could be a transaction that's going to kick off from that area. So as I'm going to be watching this again, it might not get there this week. It might be a very slow week. But when it does get there, I'll be monitoring a sell from the 51,000 mark. I believe we're going to get a push to the downside from this candle here. Keep an eye on that one. That's going to be Bitcoin. Okay, so from this first segment, this is going to be one of my main focuses for the week. And again, if you've caught the pound CAD, the NZD USD trades, the UK 100 or the US 30 trades recently, you will know that this is something that's starting to become very familiar. So again, I just want to talk about the bearish environment where we're just making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. So we're now back at an area where if a lower low is going to start, it's going to be from here. So again, on the daily time frame, we've hit a level around the 73 mark to be precise, where I wanted to see price react, have a reaction, and then the next 2 days, Thursday and Friday, it's had a little push to the downside. So if I just come down to a 4-hour now, what I'm expecting to see is price just come back to this level again, just below the 73. Let's call it 72, 75 to 73. And it, again, see price struggle there. And then we get to the push to the downside where I can see at least price coming towards the 68, 69 level. So again, keep an eye on this one. It's going to be one of my main focuses. It's the US oil. I'm looking to see a sell from around that 73, 72, 75 mark. Target 68, 69 US oil. Guys, we're interrupting the charts for a short break. I just want to make you aware, my newly launched website, that's www.capitalatrading.co.uk. If you want to learn more about Forex, if you want to enhance your skills, be able to take investments for yourself, check out the mentorship program. Give me a shout. You can check me out on Instagram. You can send me an email. That's capitalatrading@hotmail.com with any questions you may have. With that, let's get into the currencies. Okay, so first up for the currencies is going to be pound CAD. Now, again, we've had a great trade on this last week. And on Friday, it made a late burst back towards the area. So it's kind of just sitting there again. It's obviously them, the market makers. And I believe they may create another transaction here early in the week and then get a small push to the downside. But again, it's getting to that point now where it's time to not be so naive. I do believe at some point it will burst through this area. So just be aware of that. Keep an eye on this level. If it looks like it's struggling again, maybe around the London Open Monday morning, maybe even the New York Open, obviously in the afternoon. If it does struggle, take your trade, hold the position, maybe for the 174 level this time, maybe 173,500. But again, just be aware that once it has reached this target, I believe it will eventually rip through this area. So keep an eye on that. Be early, something to watch out for early in the week. That'll be the pound CAD, and we're looking for some CAD strength. Okay, again, as you can see, another great trade from last week. This was the NZD USD. We've had a nice 125 pip push to the downside. I do believe the target is trying to come to is around here, around the 69,500 mark. So very similar to what I was just speaking about on the US 30. We've got the bearish environment starting. So again, what I'll be looking for is just a pull back towards this 70, let's say 750 to 950 level, somewhere between here, and then a continuation, maybe another push, and then a continuation down. So keep an eye on that one. Again, I will be focusing on the buy if it does look like a buy push around the 069,500. So again, it's just about keeping an open mind and then seeing which is looking most likely to happen and then trading that. That's going to be the NZD USD. Next up is going to be the Euro Pound. This is my baby. This is my chart. This is where I get down. Again, if for those of you who follow me, you'll know that I've just been battering the life out of this. It's been very bearish. It's been heading to the downside, making loads and loads of sell moves. There was one recently I mentioned around the 86 level, and we've had a small drop. So again, what I'm looking at is I'm expecting it to still keep coming down. I've seen some nice sort of interactions with this area here around the 85, 600. I'm looking at this big bearish movement to the downside. If I just come down the time frame, again, still a massive bearish movement. And then I come to the 1 hour, and that's what they're playing off right there. around the 85-600 level. So I'm going to watch that, see if it can get back towards there. That may be where I'm looking to take a sell entry. If it doesn't look like it's struggling there, if it doesn't look like it's going to line up and correlate with a London open or a London close, then I'm expecting it to come maybe back towards the 85, 800, 900, and then I'll be looking at monitoring that area there. So keep an eye on that one. That's going to be the euro pound. Next up is going to be the pound AUD. Again, I just wanted to mention this was actually a trade one of my students mentioned and caught a nice little buy move there. So just looking at this daily picture now, we're back at a level where possibly a new transaction is being completed. I like the way the body has stayed underneath this one's body. That tells me a massive story. So if I just come down to the 4 hour now, I like the way it's kind of stalled in this level around the 189. And I'm just going to be looking, if I just get onto a 2 hour, it looks like the transaction that I'm used to seeing has happened here around about the 189-200 mark, and it's starting to make its push. So I'm just going to be monitoring this early in the week. Again, we've got that Australian dollar news that's going to be coming through tonight. So I'll be looking to see if that's going to cause an impact for the Australian dollar, which then I'm looking at a target to see price come at least towards the 187 mark. So again, there's a nice 200 pip range there. Let's see if we can get onto that this week. That's going to be the pound AUD. Okay. Next up is going to be the pound USD. Now, again, we've got interest rate decisions for both currencies. So again, it's just about seeing where price is sitting at the time, seeing how you can catch a trading opportunity. So the first thing I'm going to say to keep an eye out for is this 137 level. I want to see if the pound's going to get strong. They're going to be going first on the interest rate. So let's see if that can get strong. And then that's going to be the push to the upside that I'm looking to see. If that comes, that's fine. We catch that trade. If not, and it looks like the US dollar is going to take control and push this to the downside, then it'll be looking at the retest towards this level here at the 138. And then that'll be where the sell push I'm looking to see come from. So again, keep an open mind. Let's see what happens at the 137 at the start of the week. Let's see if the pound has a good start to the week. If it starts to struggle at that 138 level, 138-200, just to give it a bit of space, then we'll be looking to take a sell position. Keep an eye on that. It's going to be the pound USD. Be aware of the news. Okay, next up is going to be the euro AUD. It's going to be very similar to what you saw on the pound AUD. So again, there's been that nice buy push recently from that 159 level, and we're now sitting around the 161-500 mark. So for the last 3 days, I like the way price has struggled at this level, struggled to go higher than that level that I'm mentioning. If I just come down to the 4 hour, I like this picture. I like the way we've got all these bodies that are struggling to go higher than the 161-400 mark. So it lets me know that there's a transaction about, and just to keep an eye on it, I'm saying keep an eye on the 161-500, 161-600, 700. So give it a 20 pip space. Let's see what's going to happen in this level. I believe, again, with that Australian dollar strength early in the week, we can get a push to the downside, at least to the 159-500. Of course, that will give us a nice 200 pip range again. So keep an eye on that one. It's going to be the euro AUD. Okay, next up is the USD Swiss franc. Again, remember that we've got news for both of these currencies this week, so make sure you're aware of the times and keep an eye on that. The first thing I want to mention is we had a lovely push from this area before, and you can see on the daily picture there, we've had a lovely move to the downside, and for ages, it's just been crawling back up to this area. So now we're getting to where it's going to be a key moment, I guess around the 93-500, 94 mark. That will be the last point of call. I believe we're going to get a massive push from here. I don't believe it's going to happen anytime soon. First, we've got to let price get there, show that it's struggling, and then start the push to the downside. So again, this may be another trade that you may see the benefits of in around 2 to 3 weeks. So keep an eye on that one. That's going to be the US dollar Swiss franc. So next up is going to be the pound Swiss franc. And again, this is another trade. If I just quickly show you the weekly time frame, we've had price come to this area. It's reacted. It's showed its hand. It's pushed to the downside. It's been down here struggling for many weeks now. So as we start to push back up towards the area, it's only going to be around the 129-500 that I'm going to become interested in a trade. It can come up to the 130 looking at this picture as well, and it probably will. So again, it'll be about just managing this. This probably won't happen this week, but again, I'll be updating it definitely next week if there has been a progression into this area. And I believe we're going to get a longer term sell push from one of these levels. So it's about just being patient, letting the price come to you, and then catching the opportunity. So that's going to be the USD Swiss franc and the pound Swiss franc. Keep an eye on both. While we're there, this will also be worth keeping an eye out for. It's going to be the euro Swiss franc. So again, all three of them looking very similarly, heading towards key areas, key selling points. And this one here will be the 109,500. That'll be the area that you want to watch out for. I want to just see it interact with this small blue candle here. And then after that, we can catch the trading opportunity. So keep an eye on that one. That's going to be the Euro Swiss franc. Okay, so next up is going to be the pound NZD. And I kind of like the way this week has finished. So yeah, the buy push from around that 194, 193, 500 level looks good. And it looks like the 196 level has been manipulated. And price has obviously shown a first sign of struggling around the area. So just come down to the 4 hour. It's going to be just around here, around this level here. That's the candle that I'm looking to see get interacted with. So it can be the 196, 300 to the 196. So let's give it a bit of space to breathe. I believe we're going to get a sell push from that area. If it does violate this area and go higher, then it'll be around the 199 where I can see that there may be another transaction for a big push to the downside. So keep an eye on that, be aware of them. The next one I want to talk about is the Euro NZD. So again, just showing this daily picture. I mentioned around this 165, 500 level that there's going to be a buy push. It's had it, but it's again showing signs of struggling. So I do believe we're going to get another one, as I believe this has got a bit more space to come up. And that's where I'll be looking at the sell around the 168, 500 to see if it's going to interact with this level and then push down to the downside. So keep an eye on that, have an open mind on both. Whatever looks more likely, try to trade that. It's going to be the Euro NZD. Again, another one that was mentioned last week. I made a video about this trade. The precision of it was actually quite scary. And it's now heading towards the target area as well. So again, just regarding this one, it's like a bus that's moving. It's already on its way. I'm looking to see it just pull back towards here, towards the 151, 500 mark. And then hopefully I can jump on at that bus stop with another position. So keep an eye on that one. That's going to be the pound yen. Next up is going to be the USD CAD. This one's for you, Eric. This is one of my students who started learning to trade with me around a month ago now, and plotted one of his first trading setups. And this is the one that he spoke about, a buy from around the 126, 200, 126, 400 level. He noticed something that I've taught him. And then again, you can see there by Friday, there's the end results. So a very, very profitable move. Regarding this, what I can see happening now is just a pull back towards the area where they've created their transaction and another push to the upside again with a nice target up there around the 129 level. So keep an eye on that one, Eric. That's for you. That's the USD CAD. Okay, just another interesting one to watch from this level here, because it looks like they've done something on Friday that, again, I'm very familiar to seeing. So again, just keep an eye on this level around the 110, 100. It looks like the transaction's been played. It looks like they've hit into what they need to do. And let me just mean that now, that basically gives this the license to head to the downside. And again, we've got a target here around the 109, 300 to the 109 mark. So keep an eye on that one. That's going to be the USD JPY. Again, remember the news that may impact that. Wow, it's getting quite worrying how many are actually going off. But here's AUD USD. This was a trade that I mentioned around 2 to 3 weeks ago. You can check it out on the Forex weekly videos. Again, just showing you that the profits are made in the patience. So again, if you held the trade for a week, you would have seen some good profits. If you held the trade for 3 weeks, you would have seen some really good profits. So again, what I want to mention now is, yes, the bearish environment looks very strong. It looks like it's just going to continue making lower lows and lower highs until further notice. But again, I just wanted to mention for anyone who is holding on to this trade still, this has got to a key level now around that 72,500 mark, where if it is going to break up that bearish structure and become a buy push, that's where it's going to do it from. So again, just keep an open mind, have a look for the buy push from here. And again, expect that structure to stay intact. Whichever one looks more likely to happen, try to trade that option. That's going to be the AUD USD. Again, remember, we've got news for both of these currencies.
Okay, guys, so as you can see, lots of trading opportunities to look out for. Here's my advice. Pick out 2 or 3, monitor them very closely. Think about the times that I've told you to mention, watch out for. Of course, the news may impact the charts, so keep an eye on that. And again, see if you can catch on to a profitable situation. So again, guys, a quick shout out to my sponsors, The Absolute Magazine. Thank you for everything. Check out my article. It's on page 95. It's a really good read. That's available in all Waitrose and M&S stores. Again, a quick shout out to my website. If you want to learn more, about trading, head over to www.capitalatrading.co.uk. There's a lot of exciting content on there and educational content to help you get started. With that being said, Have a great trading week.
Bye, have a great time.